All right, welcome back into Indiebnb. Today we are joined by Courtney Kelly, coming to us live from sunny San Francisco. Courtney, how are we?
I'm good. And it just happens to be a very sunny day, which is slightly unusual. So there's
Yeah, we
currently
had
no
some.
fog.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. We had a little bit of rain here today, so I had down here in Atlanta. So I had a little had to have the raincoat on. But good to hear that you guys are getting some sunny skies over there. Talk me, I mean, let's dive in. I mean,
Do
you
it.
come to us from being a backup singer, and now we're getting into
Yes.
a little bit of the side project solo stuff. So what's going on in your world? What kind of made that transition?
I think I've always just been obsessed with harmonies, if I'm being quite honest. I was like Glee before Glee was a thing. I was that nerd that just wanted to sing all the harmonies and dance, and that's always been the heart of me, honestly.
Mhm.
I will harmonize to a car alarm, anything. I hear like seven notes at a time. I'm a slightly obsessed. It can be cool or annoying depending on who's with me at whatever time. But when I was in high school, I was invited by my friend's mom, who was in this cover band. She was in this awesome cover band. Her name's Becky. She still does it, actually. And she noticed that her daughter and I would like harmonize and make up these songs together. And she was like, come be like backup singers for this band. So she would bring us to these bars. We were like 16, 17, and we'd have to go outside in between like breaks because we weren't allowed to be in the bars. But
Yeah.
that was like my first experience, like, oh, this is really fun. Like, I love this. And I knew that, I mean, I was a teenager, but I knew that like I need to do music. I didn't know what it meant or where I was going with it. But at the time, I had heard of this school called AMDA, the American Musical and Dramatic Academy. They started in New York and they had opened in LA. And I auditioned and I got in and I was like, I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to do. And it was just 2 years of really intense training, which now feels a little clown camp, but you get up and you do ballet at 7 a.m. and then you go to vocal training and then you go to, on scene, on scene. So you're doing like film work and it's just for 2 years straight, just every day, just filled. And it was lovely. It was awesome. And you made a lot of friends and it was like really intense training, kind of working with other people and singing and just learning the performance side of it, essentially. But I do feel like I left there realizing I don't actually care about the theater part. I like as much as I like musical theater, I feel like I was really drawn to just the singing side. And so from there I was kind of everybody's backup singer. I don't know, I just kind of bounced around LA. I got random jobs doing like if somebody needed harmony, I was like, that's me. I'm that one. That's. And I've always loved it. It's just been something that it's slightly niche, to be honest, because there's a lot of solo artists that are gonna sing backup for their friends, but there's not a lot of like backup singers. They're like, no, that's first and foremost.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. That's how it came to be, I feel
I
like.
got you. I got you. Well, I mean, like, so I guess going back to, we're in Becky's mom's cover band. Like, what was the band they covered? Like, what, like,
It was like, I mean, we did a lot of like funk. I just remember doing a lot of funk. And I remember Becky's actually the mother, Becky.
yeah.
Um, she's in this really cool band, Femme Fatale, right now. And it's like 80s rock, but it's like all chicks and they're so good. But anyway, back then it was just a lot of funk music. And I remember they wanted me to sing up there and I was like, I don't know what to sing. And they gave me like a Pink song. Pink was popular at the time. And they're like, yeah, go sing that Pink song, you know. Um, it was a lot of fun. I think she was actually in a few bands and she was just kind of like, hey, if you're free, come and do this gig with us. And I'm like, okay. And then she'd like hand us cash and we're like, wow, we made it.
We're going to Dairy Queen. Let's get it.
Yeah, it was
Come on.
awesome.
I love it. So, I mean, obviously that kind of you get that bug, and I think that a lot of people do whenever they first get that. Like, I mean, I guess it's not the time when they hand you the money, probably more when the time when you're sitting up there singing with all the people looking at you. But like
Yeah.
when you're at that school and like I think did you feel like it became like was it more about like kind of musical theater and getting into like a kind of a Broadway setting? Was that what
It was
really was the
definitely, it
ultimate
was
goal there?
definitely, that school's definitely Broadway goal. Like that's people go there to get more Broadway trained, I should say. That's kind of where they start. That, you know, they started in New York. That's their vibe. And
Yeah.
then when they opened LA, they kind of did like a mix, like because you know there's a lot of like on-screen acting, so they kind of did like a hybrid. And but I was just all about the singing. I just wanted to sing. I just want to do anything choir. I want to sing with other people. Like, sure, I could sing by myself, but it's just so much more fun to hear all these notes all together. Just it's more fulfilling. I don't know.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, with like with after kind of you talked about you kind of bounced around a little bit. Like, who are some of the people that are there? Some people that we might know that you've done some backup work with, or some
No,
let's
no,
say.
it's all like independent artists. I'm on this
Mhm.
country album. It was called Band of Strangers. His name's Ryan. He's great. This was a while ago. Right now I'm working with my friend Alex. You might have seen her on Instagram. Alexandra, she's doing pop punk or punk rock, and it's like so good. I'm just so like excited to be involved. And I also work with my friend Liba, who is kind of pop ballady, and she's incredible. You need to check her out. Look, I'm just gonna be plugging all these people that are amazing.
Hey, I love
Um,
it.
I just got booked with another artist. His name's Roy, and he has an album coming out in May. And so it's not out yet, but I get to listen to it, and I feel so like honored. Like I get to
Yeah,
listen to these people's music, learn it, and then perform it with them for the first time. And I get to see all these people that love them and adore them. I get to kind of watch it because I'm in the back. So I kind of
yeah,
get this, it's a different experience where I stand, you know, but it's special.
yeah. So whenever like, do you go into the studio with some folks? Is it like,
Hmm.
is it in the, is that kind of,
Yeah,
for what you're doing side project wise, does that kind of tie in a little bit with how you work as well?
yes. So you can hire me for session work, which is what I also do for Alex. Yeah, I mean, whatever you need. If you need somebody to make up the harmonies, like you're like, I don't know what I want these backup vocals to be like, I'll do it. I love it. It's my favorite thing. Um, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but yes, I do session work. What led me to my own thing was being a part of that process and kind of thinking like, oh, well, it'd be fun to see just like what one of I write songs, but like I never think of myself as a solo artist, so I don't really take it very farther than this room. Really, I'm like, oh, that's good enough. I got it out. It's fine. And I thought, well, I should invest a little and just see like where it goes. And so that's kind of how it happened. And I was working with this producer, Nick Kaufman, for Alex, and I really liked his vibe and I liked all his work. And I thought, I want my first song to be with Nick. And so that's how it came to be.
I love it. I love it. Well, as far as like you mentioned where you stand. We'll get into. I want to get into some tour stories in just a minute, but I do want to kind of talk through your current, song that just came out. Not fair. I mean, you did that one obviously with Nick. So, how did you start the song? What's did you start with lyrics? Did you start harmonies first, which it sounds like you might have, um,
um,
or where'd you start there, and how'd that song come to be?
that song. So I'm a vocalist first and foremost. That's where my training really lands. But I grew up in a really musical house. My dad played piano. He pretty much played anything. He was just kind of he was just that person that could pick up an instrument and randomly play it. And I had always wanted to learn guitar. I'd had a guitar my whole life, but never could really figure it out. And I kind of just kept giving up, like, ugh, this is too hard. My fingers start hurting after like 2 days. Piano's easier, it's just
Yeah,
I can move faster. And during COVID, I was like, I'll learn guitar. I actually learned guitar, and it was kind of crazy because it gave me a new sound. I mean, making up songs in the piano is nice, but I don't know, having a guitar is just a different tone and different vibe. And yeah, that song was written right, like literally right there. I was just kind of sitting there playing with these chords I had learned, and a melody came to my mind, and I don't know, it kind of went from there. There was definitely like a part of me that was like the melody in my mind was there was already harmony apart. Like as it was, I was like, oh yeah, and then this part will be like, you know.
gotcha. So you kind of started melody first. Like, And
Yeah.
then lyrically, like how does that, how do those come to be? I mean, I think it's so fascinating how people come put words with the song, with the
Honestly,
music.
I am equally as fascinated as you. I think it depends on the moment, on the time. I'm currently working on a co-write with this other producer, John McLucas, who's amazing. Plug, plug, plug. Just plugging in these amazing people. Um, and we were working on the song, and it was just kind of funny because we came up with this melody together, but we weren't really sure what we want to say. And so it ended up just being a lot of vowels in the beginning. We're like, I don't know. And then soon the vowels turn into something, and then you hear a word, and then the word turns into a sentence. And then pretty sure, like, actually, like, I don't know. It was just so interesting because, like I said, I'm usually by myself in my room. So it was kind of fun to see how do other people do it. And I think it's varying. Some people just need that bass song. They need the beat. They need something going on in the background, and then they kind of pull from that. Some people have a melody in their head. They have nothing going on in the background, and they're like, I need something to go with this melody. I think it's just varying. It just depends. But I am equally as fascinated by that process. I have no idea. I have no answers to this.
Like I think I like the idea. It's just, it kind of came out and you said it. So it started with vowels and then he just kind of built from there into,
Yes.
clips and phrases and sentences. And then it just, builds
Yeah.
together. So that's awesome. Um, for you, like you mentioned earlier, like you did a Pink song whenever you were in the front, they make you do the song solo. Like what about kind of getting in and doing, doing some touring or doing some kind of, live set that kind of excites you about, kind of being front and center again, not so much being in the kind of, off, standing in the back from everything.
I still currently work. I don't want to say I'm in any bands specifically. I work with bands. So I do a lot of gigging on the side as a solo artist, but it's more like I get hired for things and they either need me with my guitar or they need a full band and I will, provide that. But that's the only time I really am doing it where I'm up front. Usually
Yeah.
and I love that. But that's going to be mostly covers, that's like events and things. I love it. I have no problem with it being up front, but I just don't have a lot of experience singing my own songs up front. Like that's like
Yeah.
new territory. It feels like next level in a good way, but it does feel a little like out of my normal. Like I'm growing.
Yeah.
It's new in a really scary but fun, and just try it and do it and see what happens.
So you're gonna sneak a couple of are you gonna sneak Not Fair into maybe like some of those sets that you're
Yeah,
going into and
we just did.
see how it
I've
feels?
I've al- I've already been sneaking it in, like when it's just me and my guitar. I'll be at an event for like something corporate. They're all eating and they're beautiful, lovely people, and I'll be like, I'm just gonna sing my song, and they're like, oh, they have no idea, and they're like, oh, whatever. I just did a show this last 2 Sundays at Music City, San Francisco, which is a really cool new spot that's opened up and great for musicians. It's so fancy, so nice, but they just booked me there. And I brought my friends who learned my song with me, and we're like, let's do it. Let's play my song. And it's strange. It's odd to me because it's so new. But I
Yeah.
work with people that sing their own songs, and they're just so like, yeah, I sing my own songs. And I'm like, I don't know. It's still silly to me. I don't know.
Gotcha.
I'll
Well,
get
I
I'll
mean,
get there.
as you progress, and you get more comfortable there, but like what covers are you, excited about whenever you do go and do some of those gigs like live? Like what do you say like moves the needle at the corporate event where kind of everybody's just, walking around and, what's
Oh
what do
man.
you sing that you're like, man, that gets a
There
reaction every single time?
every time. And I don't want to say I'm sick of singing it, but I've sung this song so many times. I think it's posted on my Instagram, my YouTube. At Last by Etta James. And the reason I sing it is because it's one of the songs I have fully memorized, which is really nice. So I can just perform it. But I mean, again, I don't want to say I'm sick of the song, but when I sing it, their eyes go wide and people get so excited. And I'm like, okay, it's only like the 200th time I've sang it, but I'm really glad you guys are like, it depends on the vibe. It depends on situation. Um, Valerie's always a good hit.
Hmm.
Valerie, people love Valerie. Just those like classic one songs that people can sing with you because they know it too. Those always go down, right?
Yeah.
Like I just did this show at Brick and Mortar with Alex. I was doing her backups and she was doing punk rock and she threw in like some Blink 182, just some classic songs, and people were just like, "Oh, we know this song." People get excited and they can
Yeah.
like sing. It's fun.
So I do have to ask, I mean, as a professional in this, category, and like obviously, jabronis like me go out to karaoke night and they are just, yeah, I'm gonna, do what I can. Does that feel like work to you if you ever go out to do karaoke, or do you
No,
feel like
absolutely
you're,
not. No. I just went to a party with my friend was hosting a party at her house, and she's a new friend who didn't know that I was a singer, actually. We just hadn't really talked about what we do.
oh
And
man,
she was like, she was talking about this party. She's like, what I really want to do is maybe like, we'll all do karaoke. And I was like, I can set that up for you. And she's like, oh, really? And I'm like, I can set this up for
yeah,
you. I got this for you. Don't worry. And she's like, oh. And then I started to tell her, like, what, I don't want to be like, I'm a singer, but I was like, this is what I do. Actually, I perform and I have all the equipment to bring and
yeah,
I've got you. But it was really fun because it was like, I brought all the stuff. It did not feel like work at all. We just all
yeah.
hung out and I love karaoke. I love it.
Do you break out at last for karaoke, or are you doing,
I don't anymore. I'm not sick of it. I refuse to say I'm sick of that song because it's a beautiful song. But what did I do last time? God, I can't remember. But one of the girls did Crazy, which I hadn't, crazy, crazy
yeah.
fulfilling. And I was like, oh, that's a good one. And then weirdly enough, I got booked for this gig and, I was like, do you have any requests that you want me to come prepared? And he was like, can you do Crazy? And I was like, I just heard this 24 hours ago. And I'm really glad that I remember how that song goes.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Well, what are some, I guess, as you've gone through in your career, like touring and kind of transition here to like, some of those, best moments from, being behind the crowd, or being like, looking out at the crowd, but
Yeah.
behind, the artist, like what's been your favorite thing you've experienced, best venues? Like what are some of those, pieces that you can kind of bridge
One of the
something up?
best, one of the best venues so far was Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco. It's this gorgeous theater. It's huge and it just felt really next level. You have your backstage, you have your own, oh my God, what's it called? Dressing room. And like it just felt really like, okay, we cannot fuck around. Like where this is like legit. And so it just felt really special. And also seeing, this woman, Alexandra, has become such a good friend. So I see her working hard and getting better at her craft. And I also see her struggling and all these things. So when I'm watching her on stage, I get to kind of see this moment she's been building towards, and I
Yeah.
see the audience loving it. And I feel like it just feels really special just to be on the stage and be part of it. And we had our in-ears so I could just hear her so clean in my ear, and it just felt really nice. But then we did a show at Brick and Mortar and it was just kind of wild, and it was a very rock show and it's such a different vibe. But at the same time, I look out in the audience and they're just staring at her, and I get to when you're at a concert and you're just like adoring that person, and I get to see them adoring whoever I'm working with at the time. And it's really nice. It's
Yeah.
really nice. It's nice to see. And just looking around at my bandmates, Chris on keys and his dance, just everybody in the vibe is just always a good moment. And you think, okay, whatever, like all the work that it took to get to right now was like really worth it because this feels so right.
Hmm. One of the things that I've recently kind of come to know from a band that I just interviewed, Stolen Gin, they were talking about kind of like how they're more of a jammy band. So they kind of like have to
Mhm.
know when they're coming in and the cues. And so for you, like, are you like are y'all obviously you're rehearsing prior to going on and doing something like the Palace of Fine Arts, like what does that look like for you? Do y'all watch tape and like, because that's what one of the things that they said was a watershed moment for them was watching the tape back and then being able to understand cues better and seeing when people were going to come in and all of those different kind of live music aspects that, you know, you may
It
not think
kind
about in the studio.
it kind of depends. Some of these people I've done so many shows with that we don't need to rehearse as much as somebody else, like this new artist I'll be working with soon. I haven't actually rehearsed with them yet. Next week will be our first rehearsal. And so I don't know. We'll see how it goes, see how it vibes. And maybe I'll be like, we need more, or maybe you just never know.
Hmm.
I think it just varies with the person or even the event. Um, Obviously, the more involved, like if there's more players involved, you've got a full band, probably need a little more time to get tight.
Hmm.
But I don't think I've ever like gone back and been like, I need to watch that tape and like I don't want to pick it apart because it just was what it was. You put out your best and you're like, okay, I might listen to it and be like, oh, I was kind of sharp on that. Or, like I need to listen better on that one part. But I'd rather not kind of
Yeah.
like break it down because it just doesn't seem helpful for me. It
Yeah.
doesn't.
I think that makes sense. I think like, you know, depending on, I guess it depends on obviously what you're doing and like where, you know, if the goal is, hey, we're going to go out there and, you know, I need to know like if it's a guitar guy and a, you know, a saxophone guy, they need to know about each other. I think it makes sense there definitely, but maybe not for, you know, folks that are just, hey, like we played together for forever. Like we don't need to, I don't
Yeah.
need to go back and go watch the game tape. We need to go and book the next
Yeah.
one and, you know, keep going. And,
And the
um,
best people I've worked with, the people that I'm excited to work with again, are the ones who, first of all, they trust me wholeheartedly to know my craft. Like they're not nitpicking me because they know Courtney knows what she's doing. And
yeah.
that lets me kind of like gives me a little more freedom to kind of play around with harmony. So it's not sometimes it needs to be specific, certain parts, but I'll have somebody be like, whatever you hear in your head, go ahead, do whatever you want. I'm like, that's the best to me. I love that.
Getting the green light and just going.
Yes, exactly.
I like it. Well, I got one more, you know, odd one before we get into Pete
Okay.
Peterson's party pack of questions. Obviously you've been and worked many events. It, do you have like a kind of disaster event that you can think about? Like it wasn't you or anything else, just an overall, you know, you were at the event and like, I mean, somebody tripped right into the cake. Like, I mean,
No,
or like any kind of wild event story that
I was I joined Liba actually for backups at this like Irish bar in the city, and she had kind of warned me. She's like, "Listen, it gets crazy there," and I was like, "Okay, it's fine, whatever." She's like, "No, it really like it gets wild," and she was right. She was very right. It gets very wild, and I was kind of tucked in the corner because the stage is kind of tiny, and this guy was just and the stage is kind of high up, so they're kind of he was like reaching and like grabbing at my shoes and my legs, and when I would look down he'd say I love you, but he was like so drunk, and I'm just like this is it just felt so like out of my like what's going on right now. But it was fun, it was just silly. I felt like I need to scoot back a little bit, but that's probably the wildest story. Honestly, I don't have a lot
yeah.
of crazy stories.
Yeah, I think about, you know, I think about, you know, the just any kind of just topsy turvy at these corporate events, things can happen and all that stuff. But interesting that you got people grabbing at your ankles is still nothing to nothing to
It
sneeze at
is
there. I mean,
It is still, it was odd. And I just thought, what are you doing, sir? I just looked at, I mean, I'm not gonna be like, don't, I'm not gonna make a scene. And he was clearly like drunk and he wasn't the only one, they're grabbing at Libba too. And you just look at them like, oh, you're silly. And then you kind of step back and
get off my ankle. Thanks, man.
yeah,
Appreciate
yeah.
it. Go to the tip jar. It's right at the front. You can
Yeah.
help us there.
I love that you're enjoying this. If you could just not touch me, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
I love it. I love it. Well, let's get into some Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. You know, some
Okay.
rapid fire. I mean, we've done
I'm so ready.
done a lot of plugs already, but and you did mention you have heard this already. So I'm glad you're a veteran and you know the last question as well. So we'll hop in Pete Peterson's party pack of questions. Starting out right now, cake or pie, Courtney Kelly?
Okay, it's cake. Chocolate cake, to be specific.
Chocolate cake all day. All right. Salad or soup?
Salad, but it better be like well done, you know?
Yeah. We got a lot of accoutrement in there.
Like I need just like something crunchy, something sweet, salt, I need cheese. I need like all the things.
I like it. Okay. Sunrise or sunset? What are you seeing more of these days?
Sunrise. I'm an early person, which does not bode well for a musician, but that's just who I am. I wake up early. I love sunrise. I always have.
I love it. Would you rather hit a home run or score a touchdown?
I literally could care less about either. But home run just sounds like easier, I feel like.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Hitting the bomb out the park. Night
Yeah,
in or night out? What are you having more of these days?
night in. Because if I'm out, I'm working probably. So
Gotcha.
if I
So you
can
have
be in, I'll be in.
I like it. I like it. When you do go out and maybe you're going to a party that you're not performing at, are you more likely to break out the robot or the worm if your jam comes on?
Definitely the robot. That is my signature. So yeah.
All right, Courtney Kelly, a robot coming to a party near you at some
Yes,
point.
exactly.
Love it. Guac or queso when you head up your best Tex-Mex spot?
I guacamole. It's California. Stop it. Don't even mess around like this.
Okay, you guys got the avocados. You got the cados. Waffles or pancakes, for breakfast.
Waffles, obviously. I mean, we need the syrup and butter to go into the divots and really give it
Coke.
life.
I love
Pancakes
it.
are useless. Come on.
Okay. All right. Pancakes are used. Hot take. All right. Coffee or tea? What are you going with there?
Coffee. Absolutely.
All right. Early riser. Got to get the turbo
Yeah.
going. Love it.
Hmm.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs. I have you heard the song? It's definitely too many dogs.
All right.
Dogs.
Dogs all the way. All right. Ninja or pirate? What do you identify more with?
Probably a pirate. Just sounds cooler.
Yeah. Okay. Gatorade or Powerade? What do you prefer?
I mean, I wouldn't choose either, but if I was forced, it'd probably be Gatorade.
Gatorade.
Yeah.
What's a better voice recovery drink that you would recommend?
Oh, I mean, for voice, probably tea, honey. It's
Honey.
not very exciting.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. If I ever get into the singing field, maybe if I have a long night at karaoke, I'm gonna go tea or honey. I like that.
Yes.
Good. Toast or bagels?
Toast with avocado.
Avocados on the toast. I love it. Chips or pretzels?
Chips
Okay.
with guac.
With guac. Fries or tots?
Fries.
Fries. All right. All right. TV show or a movie when you do have your night in? What are you unwinding with?
Mm, I would love to say I unwind, but I'm always full of anxiety, and I'm definitely that girl that watches like murder docs. So I don't know how to answer this. It depends on what form it's given. What form is this documentary drug giving to me? Is it in the series or movie? I'll take either.
All right, we'll take crime docs, Grant, for a third
There you
answer. I
go.
like it. Gonna get all nice and scared prior to going to bed.
Yeah, and then I'm just like awake. Yeah.
Coming for me, I know it. Speaking of what's coming for you, aliens. Do you think that they are real?
Absolutely. Why not?
Okay. Bigfoot, you're in that kind of country area, Northern California.
I'm
Bigfoot,
gonna
is it real?
I'm gonna go with no, but sure. Like if it were true, I'd be like so stoked.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be as well. Love at first sight. Is that real?
No, but maybe lust.
You are not the first to say that for sure. That's been a
I could see
popular
that.
answer when we ask that. And of
Yes.
course, you've mentioned a few already. But who are two bands that we ought to check out that we might not know?
Oh my God.
Maybe that
Two?
you've
That's
worked.
not enough.
All right,
Um,
five.
definitely. Okay. Oh, okay. You need to check out Alexandra, obviously. Um, Libba, duh. There is this great couple that I know, Elizabeth and Alex, different Alex, and their band is Honey Disposition. And I swear to you, they are the sweetest, cutest couple. Their music is adorable. Um, they just did a music festival and they'd invited me to sing with them, and it was so much fun. They're just the best people, and I want everybody to support them. Um, Connor Morrison, you need to check him out. He'd be great on this show. You should get him. He's like a piano rock guy. I just did a show with him also at Music City, and it was so much fun to sing with him. He's just an incredible pianist, and he sings, and I can harmonize, which is what I really want to do. I feel like there's so many more. There is, I don't know if I'm going to say her name right or wrong. Sedge. It's SEJ. And I saw her live and her voice is so sweet. And I've been obsessed with her song called Patiently. I think I even posted it today. Everybody needs to check her out. It's S, she spells it with like a $sign, SEJ.
All
And
right.
she's just like gorgeous. You should have her on the show. Look, I can like find your people for you. I'll find all the artists for this show.
We always need help in any possible place. So we're always open and welcome. So we can definitely take that offline, and we'll be talking through it. But Alexandra, I want to make sure I had that one right. Alexandra.
It's
Alexandra.
actually Alex Sandra.
Alex.
Yeah. And
Alex.
it's one word, I believe. I'm trying to find her on. I should know. I'm like literally on her songs. But I think it's 2 words. It's 2 words. Look
Okay.
at let's give her look at this. Look at this hottie. Look
Alexandra.
at that
There we
hottie.
go. There we go.
She's
And then
great.
Libba, Libba.
Yeah.
All right, Libba. And then Honey Disposition, Connor
Honey disposition.
Morrison's,
Yeah.
and Sedge
Yeah.
with the
Yes.
dollar sign. With the dollar sign.
That's a good list.
We
It's a
love it.
great
We love it.
list.
Well, I mean, we appreciate your list, and definitely if you want to want to hook us up with some more folks out in the San Francisco area. We
You better be careful because I'm just gonna be like messaging you every day, like, look who I found. I'm like you, like I'm very fascinated by musicians. I love and follow. I'm probably the only person on Instagram who follows everybody back, especially if they're a musician. I'm like, oh, you're a musician. I'll follow you. And I follow you. I want to know what you're doing, where you're going with it. Like I love it.
I love it. Well, hey, like I think that the curiosity is what brings you and connects you well with many others. So obviously it's been an honor to have you on here and
Thank you.
get to know you, and we're excited to see you moving forward. If you ever come through Atlanta, obviously we'd love to meet in person and
Yeah,
get a beer. So
I love it.
awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Thank you.